Welcome to the Biz Bash podcast, where we make biz strategy a piece of cake. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cami, but you might know us better as Eliza Ann Calligraphy and Cami Monet. We want to help you, our fellow stationers, artists, and calligraphers, confidently build a profitable and personality-driven creative biz.
We're here to share our honest-to-goodness advice and actionable strategies for ambitious artists.
So put on your party hat, quit being a procrastinator gator, and let's get this party started.
Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 14 of the Biz Bash podcast. Today we are going to be talking about the ominous friend and family discount.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think it's ominous. I think I just said it wrong. It doesn't really matter.
I was going to say, I think it is ominous, but it's okay. It's fine.
It's one of those things that is just difficult for us to kind of figure out as creatives. And we had a listener reach out to us with a question about what to do with friends and family, or what to do in instances when friends and family expect that you will create things for free for them. She asked to remain anonymous, understandably so. This is kind of a touchy subject, and she probably doesn't want her friends and family knowing that she asked this because it clearly is kind of uncomfortable for her, and she's having a hard time setting boundaries. And honestly, we just figured that this question is best answered with an entire episode. So here we go.
Yeah, I mean, I can count so many times that I have been asked for a friends and family discount, but as my business has grown, I get less and less of those questions. And also it's probably because my confidence has grown too. So it's much easier to say no.
So what do we do when friends and family automatically assume they'll get your work for free? And why do they automatically assume this? We were kind of thinking about it and brainstorming a little bit. And it comes down to the fact that within a friend and family dynamic, people are always doing things for each other and giving out of generosity in a bunch of different situations. So maybe your sister paid hundreds of dollars to host you a bridal shower. Like, you didn't see that, but behind the scenes it happened. Or maybe your aunt gave you a super expensive wedding gift. Cousins, friends, etc. were reaching out to help you in different situations in your life. So it's kind of, I think that our friends and family assume that when it comes their time, that we will also be giving our time for free in different ways. But it gets tricky when the thing that you're giving is actually your business and not just your time.
Right. And I've always kind of been in the mentality that real friends will want to support you and pay you, even if you do offer them a discount. Like, for example, so Elizabeth bought one of my workshop tickets, and I was like, oh, I'm going to refund you. Like, you're not paying for that. Like, you can have this for free, obviously. Like, why would you pay for this? And she was like adamant that she's like, no, I am purchasing this. Like, I want to support you. I am buying this. Do not refund me. And I was like, okay, sassy pants.
I was like, if you refund me, there's going to be a serious problem, because I was the first one to buy a ticket to her Morning Glory Farm workshop in Tennessee. And Cami was like, you could just come for free. And I was like, are you kidding? I was like, you're my friend. I'm going to support you because this is your business. Like, I don't expect that to be free. And it's, I'm a creative, so obviously I understand that a little better. But
I know. I love buying stuff from you too. Like, I like the notepad and your wax seals. Like, I'm just like, I'm not even going to ask her and be like, hey, do you have a discount code I could use? I'm just going to go buy it before she has a chance to respond. Yeah. And a lot of times though, I think the friends and family discount, they're not even asking for it. It's just something we feel like we're supposed to give them. There's this unspoken pressure. If a friend comes to you, you're like, oh, well, I'll go ahead and give you a 10% discount. And they didn't even ask for it. You just feel like you have to give it to them out of pure guilt, which is so weird. So I think that all kind of boils down to lacking confidence in your pricing and your rates. So we'll dive in about more of what that means and unpack it a little bit. But let's talk about, how do you approach a situation where friends and family just automatically assume they're going to get your work for free? So honestly, you just have to really be able to stand up for yourself. You need to know what your boundaries are in terms of friends and family discounts, and we'll talk about ours as well. But you have to be able to say no and say it confidently, or not even just saying no, just being like, yeah, here are my rates, and not being weird about it. So setting those expectations early on. Of course, they're coming to you as a person, but you are attached to your business. You are a business entity, and you need to treat yourself as such and not treat your business like a hobby. So when they're asking about your work and whether you'll do, a custom calligraphy sign or whatever, the easiest way to respond is just say like, yeah, I'm happy to provide a quote for you to review. So don't add in any emotions. Don't apologize and say, oh, I don't have a discount or whatever. No explaining. Sometimes I even like to just play dumb with it. And if someone's like, how much will it cost me to do this? And I know they're expecting a friends or family discount. I'm just like, the price is this much. And I don't have any like filler words around it. I'm just literally giving a price. Something else to just make sure you're bringing up that topic of pricing is to ask, hey, what's your budget? What kind of budget do you have for your wedding or something like that? So they're already setting up that expectation that they are going to have to pay you and you're not just doing it for free willy-nilly. And also saying something like, hey, thanks so much of thinking of hiring me for your custom project. Before we get started, I just want to let you know I don't offer a friends and family discount, so don't feel any pressure to book with me. Here are my rates. And of course, adding in that hire word implies that they're going to pay you. And then saying like, I don't offer a friends and family discount. I don't expect you to hire me just because I'm your friend. And it gives them an easy way out too. So there's like less pressure on their end.
That's very true. And I've done things before, like basically saying to them, I'd love the opportunity to be able to work with you and send you a quote. So let's start an email or something like that. Because people will call you or they'll text you. So when I say I'll give you a quote, let's email about it, that makes it a lot more serious too, where they're like, oh, she is going to expect to be paid for it. I don't get the work for free.
I honestly, setting up those not expectations, but just like ideas of what a real business looks like. You're not just like, oh yeah, just text me and I'll Venmo you. You can pay me in cash. Like you're like, yeah, email me. Here's my website and my contact form on this. Tell me about your project, your budget, and I'll see if I have a spot for you in my design calendar and how much the project's going to be. And like, typically they're probably expecting you to just be like, yeah, it's going to be $10 and you can pay that in beers and pizza or whatever. I mean, they're not thinking that, but you know what I mean? So moving that conversation over to email automatically gives a little bit more weight behind it than on Facebook Messenger, which I'm assuming most friends and family requests are probably coming on Facebook Messenger, Instagram DM. I mean, that's kind of the nature of those things. And it is true. Like I don't, most of the people who are talking to me, they're not specifically asking for a friends and family discount. You just kind of know. It's super weird. But also we might be assuming wrong. So that's another thing where they might not even be expecting a discount and you're just automatically putting this like weird thought into the conversation because you're just assuming that they want that and they want to pay you full price, support you, give you a tip, support your business. So
I just remember that especially with friends like right outside of college too, that were getting married, when they would ask me about things, that is probably when it came up the most for me at that point in my business, because I was still kind of new and starting out. That they would ask about quotes for my work, and that I think I had a couple of them come back asking if I had a friends and family discount, which I said no. Like, I'm sorry, I don't offer one. I don't know, you just gotta I just kind of had to like stand up for myself. And it's not even that they're trying to bully you at all. I think it's just that I think people are kind of like taught to always ask for things like that, and obviously inclined to ask for things because everyone's trying to save money. So it's easy to get offended by it. But I think the best thing to do is not get offended and just make it very clear that you don't.
Do you think that it's necessary to offer a discount to friends and family when you're starting out your business, like just starting out?
I think if you can set the precedent at the beginning that you don't do that, it's for the best. Because then you get to an awkward point of when do you stop? And if you never start, then it's easier to just keep that removed from your business model. But like, imagine that like 2 years in, your cousin gets married and she's still expecting to get 20% off of her calligraphy services, and you awkwardly have to explain you don't have a friends and family discount. Well, that's like even weirder than just saying you don't have one at all. So
I completely agree.
I would say try to, from the very beginning, to like discourage that mentality as much as possible, because that'll also just help your family take you more seriously when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I think starting out, everyone pretty much got a friends and family discount from me because my prices were so low. But I did not ever offer a friends and family discount. I don't think you have to have one starting out at all. But I do think if you are a newer business owner, you're way more vulnerable to saying yes to free or discounted work because you don't feel established as a business yet. You don't have that confidence that comes with experience and time being in the industry, and you're just looking to like make money any way you can, get those projects under your belt, get those clients. So just keep that in mind that once you start offering discounted work, it does get harder and harder to say no and understand your worth as a small business owner.
Mhm. Yeah.
Even though it is a great way to ease into sales, tweak your processes and services, but you're probably already charging a really low rate if you're starting out. So kind of
Yes.
like makes up for each other. So I still vote no to having a dedicated friends and family discount. But
Yeah.
okay, so what about what are our personal friends and family discounts? Like, do we even have one? I feel like you guys probably know how we feel about them by now, but our actual discounts.
Yeah, I actually like, I do not have one in place.
Like a
There's
specific policy you don't really
Yeah,
have.
a
Yeah.
standing policy in place. I will say, though, that I kind of have a short list of 3 or 4 people who I would discount my services for, and they don't know this. Like, I haven't reached out to them to be like, "When you get married, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like,
Yeah.
I'll be there to help you out." I mean, like, one of them is my sister.
Well, yeah,
I
that's
hope
kind of a
she would
given.
know that. That's kinda like a given that I'll be super excited for when she does get married and I get to do like a bunch of things for her, but that's like literally a direct relative. What do you call that? Immediate family?
Immediate family. Yeah, like my cousin is he's engaged and they're gonna get married and I will happily offer them a discount. Probably just do like the actual cost of the paper to them and like the rest is like design work for free, you know?
Mhm, right.
Yeah, something like that. But my
And I will
strategy for
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I interrupted. Pick up where you left off.
Yeah, y'all already know my strategy on friends and family discounts, I think. I think I've said it multiple times, but I only give discounts to people who I would call to bail me out of jail. And if they're going to be the ones sitting in jail with me, then they're definitely getting some stuff for free. So
Oh my
that's like
gosh.
so that's like my strategy. So yeah, that's pretty much immediate family, super, super close friends like Elizabeth. But yeah, it also, for me, it depends on what they're asking for a discount on or expecting the discount. Like products, like my prints and stuff, I will give those away to pretty much anyone like in my life, like close friends who are having babies or they're like, oh, I want to do something for anniversary. I'm like, just pick something out. I would love for you to have something. Like I love giving those away, even if they're not even asking for it. I just like happy to give products away, no problem. But when it comes to services like custom wedding invitations or doing a custom painting like pet portraits, those just take so much time and there's such a different process that I don't really offer any sort of discount on those. Like I'll give you like 50 prints for free, but I won't discount a pet portrait because the difference is the amount of time. Like products don't cost my time, they're only costing me a small amount of money, and I don't really care about that too much. But I have limited spots open for my custom services, so the cost is so much more if I'm giving that spot away, because there's a client who could come in and fill it who's willing to pay full price for that. So,
Right.
yeah.
But just to clarify though, you did say like when your cousin gets
Oh,
married, you'll
yeah.
do things at cost. So you have like
Right.
some exceptions.
That's the people who I would call to bail me out of jail rule. This is like
Okay.
outside that rule. Like
I
products
see. Okay, I just
are
wanted to
like
clarify.
outside the rule. Yeah. Yeah. Does that make sense? I hope I
Yeah,
clarified.
of
Okay.
course. That definitely makes sense. I mean, for me, last May, my cousin got married and I did their seating chart for free, but they said they were like, we want to tip you. And they still paid me like a nice amount for it. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I was like partly really doing this as your wedding gift or whatever. And it was fun for me because it was like a seating chart on glass doors.
Yeah, I remember that project.
Yeah, and I had like driven them down from Ohio and drove them back to Ohio. It was like this whole thing. But I was like super proud of them and they added so much to their day and made it so special and was like really worth it for me to do that for them. And plus, that's not something I do in my business anymore. I kind of phase those services out now. So I guess, yeah, I'm more likely to maybe do something like crafty or fun for them if it's not necessarily what I do to like make a living, kind of what you were saying of like,
Mhm.
it's easier for you to give those products away than the things that take up a huge amount of time that are essential to your business.
Right, exactly. Like I love doing like bridal shower, baby shower invitations. I do those for family members who are either having the baby shower, like my sister-in-law having a baby, or like my mother-in-law does a lot of showers for other friends. So I'll help her with do the invitations, and I'm just gonna do those. Like I'm not gonna charge her for that. Like you
Well,
know,
and your mother-in-law, you guys have an awesome relationship because she helps you a little bit with assembly, so
yeah.
that's kind of a win-win.
Yeah, and she always likes to pay me for, like, the cost of paper and stuff, and half the time I don't accept it, but yeah, it's just she always helps me with assembly, and I love getting those, like, projects where it's almost like, I don't feel like it's, like, a friends and family discount because I kind of take creative control. They're not, like, telling me what to do. She's like, "Yeah, just make something." Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like they're
Yeah, totally.
directing the
Creative
design
freedom.
process. Yeah, so it's fun for me and doesn't feel like I'm giving away something for free. But I know if I was like, yeah, I'll do your invitations for free, and it was someone not in my close friends and family, and I decided to give a discount for who knows what reason, I know that experience would suffer on their end because I wouldn't be putting as much effort in it because I know they probably don't value it as much. They got it for free. And I would probably get really annoyed with any kind of client changes, like any revisions they'd make. I'd be like, well, you didn't even pay for this. So I'm doing it the way I want to do it. Like, just being totally
Mhm.
honest. But I feel like you're just opening up a level of like a situation that could arise where you're gonna like resent each other or something along those lines. Like it gets a little weird. But if they're just paying you straight up for your work, you can treat them like just like a normal client, give them the best experience possible, and everyone feels valued on their end.
Right, exactly, because then there's an investment there, on their part. Because I wanna say when somebody's, like, not financially invested, they're also less emotionally invested too, which just kinda, like, wake makes for a weird experience.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes of like, "Okay, you're doing this for me, but do I, like, really care about it that much?" I don't know. I would say, like, my some of my higher paying clients have been my most thankful clients.
Yeah, that's true. Like, you just don't value the things that you get a discount on or pay less for. You're like, "Oh, I only paid $10, so I don't really care." But if you're paying $1,000 and you're like, "I'm gonna take care of this new purse or whatever," like $1,000 purse versus a $10 purse, which one are you gonna treasure and value and, care for the most?
Right, like, I, saved up, quote, unquote. I didn't necessarily save up, but I bought a beautiful, painting or a giclée from Jake Weidman of this swan, like, painting. Oh,
Mhm.
it's so beautiful, and, of course, I took that to Hobby Lobby immediately to, like, have it custom framed to hang it up because I had invested my money in it, and I was gonna show that thing off. Like, I wanted it up and in my office and, like, sitting there beautifully, and that's not necessarily, like, the case, when I get something for free.
Yeah, exactly. It makes perfect sense. But I mean, like the friends and family discount is totally a personal decision. Isn't it Gary Vee who says like either I don't remember if it's him or someone else, but it's like either full price or free, like no discounts. You either just do it full price or free. Like that's the only two
I kinda
options.
love that,
Yeah,
honestly.
full price or free. I can't remember who said it. Some big entrepreneur person who's an educator. So full price or free, skip any kind of discounts because it just leads to like wishy-washy expectations. And yeah, I wrote down some things that I hate about friends and family discounts.
Yes. Read those off,
So
they're
let's
funny.
go over this list because I feel like it segues perfectly. So I hate that you feel like a greedy money monger and jerk face because you are asking for money in exchange for your services. Like that's one thing when like you automatically are like, oh, I can't believe I'm asking them to pay me. Like you just feel like a jerk. And then
Oh, you mean these are things you hate that
makes you
it makes
feel.
you feel bad.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you also like you might like if it's full price or free, then I feel guilty charging because I know my work isn't cheap. So like I have people come to me and I'm like, oh, I don't want to give them a discount, but I know I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's like $5,000. And they're gonna be like, what?
Yeah,
So then I
right.
feel guilty. Like it's so much easier when I don't know the person. And then this huge expectation has already been set. And if you're a people pleaser, like by the client asking you to do free work, if you're a people
Mhm.
pleaser, you already feel the need to live up to doing something for free, which is horrible. So the exchange like gets really unclear.
Yeah.
And you're devaluing your offering, which I feel very strongly about not devaluing your offering. As you guys know, I'm really big on pricing your work appropriately. And the last thing I hate about friends and family discounts is that you risk hurting a relationship by picking favorites. Like, oh, so and so got a discount, but I didn't. Like, people are going to talk, and you're setting up that situation for you to harbor resentment towards them because they are coming to you asking for a discount and not valuing your creative work. So, yeah, a lot of things can go
Yes.
wrong. See?
Yes, to all of those, especially like risking hurting relationships because that could get super awkward if friends are talking and they're like, "Oh, well, Cami gave you 20% off, but she didn't give me anything." Because then there's that whole like, how do you explain that away? Like, it's just easier to put everyone on a level playing field to say, you know what, you pay for what you get, and there's no other choice but to pay me for my work.
Yeah, exactly. And if you were giving away a discount, I would recommend like putting it on the like an invoice and be like, yeah, this would normally cost $1,000, but I'm giving it to you for free so they can see the value of what you are giving them if you do decide to give something away or discount it. That way,
Right.
you're also educating them on what type of rates they should actually expect if they hire you next time, or they refer you out to another friend. So they're not just like, oh, she does wedding invitations for $2, so they have that
Mhm.
like idea in mind. And I think that creates that value too. They're like, oh, wow, I am getting a really good deal here. Thanks. I'm so glad she's gracious enough to give me this discount or whatever.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. I know that I did back in 2017, and this wasn't friends and family, but I did offer a discount to a client. I was kind of trying to get her to book.
yeah.
She was dragging her feet. So I was like, if you book before the end of December, you get 10% off your total invoice. And I made sure I made that an itemized line so she would know exactly how much she was getting off. That's really important.
Yeah, I agree. I just now started offering a 10% discount to my clients who book their day of services with me, just like as a little thank you, because I don't know, I just felt like adding that on there, just like another way to serve them. And so far, they've just really loved it. I'm just like, oh, I added in that 10% discount because you're a current Cami Monet bride, and I just want to say thank you. And like, I don't know, it's not like I'm
Yeah,
really
that's
losing money.
awesome. I mean, discounts can be used in your business in a way that are really beneficial and powerful. I just
Yeah,
don't think, like, when it comes down to it, like the friends and family discount is not going to do much to help your business. Because think about this too, like, it's a catch 22. If you continue to say yes to projects for friends and family because they're booking you because they know that they get this huge discount, then your calendar is filled up with discounted work and you don't have time to say yes to the non-familial clients that will be paying you the full amount. Like,
yeah. Exactly. When you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to another, which we talk about in our Why No is the Best Word Ever episode, which I feel goes hand in hand with this episode. So maybe go listen to that one as a follow up to this one, should give you more confidence when it comes to saying no and standing up for yourself.
Mhm.
But of
Yeah.
course, I mean, I am a huge proponent of being a giver and being generous. So if you do want to give discounts, I like to do it to thank someone. Like you're giving a gift. Like if someone's, having a baby or I want to give a wedding gift, like, yeah, I would, that's me deciding what I'm going to give, not them coming to me. So I love
Mhm.
doing that. Or to like honor a relationship. Like if it feels good to give it away, then do it. Like you get to make those decisions. Like don't feel like you can't give anything away. Just make sure it's on your terms and not like the other person being like, well, I know you, so you need to give me 50% off kind of thing. Like,
Mhm.
if it feels
Yeah.
good to offer discounts to that person, by all means do it. Extend what feels right for you and your business. Like, I completely think that's a good way to go.
Yeah. Absolutely. And for the person that did submit this question to us, like, thank you for asking and starting the conversation. And it's definitely not easy when you feel that pressure of that expectation, that
Yeah,
somebody wants you to work for free. But take a moment to take a breath because like Cami said earlier, sometimes we get in our own heads and we assume that somebody is asking for
totally.
something
I do
for
this
free.
all the time.
Yeah, or expecting that they think it'll be free when it isn't, and I actually remember this was quite a while back, but somebody reached out to me about a photography workshop, and she was like a planner helping organize this workshop. And this wasn't friends or family, this was a stranger, but she starts talking in the email telling me what it's gonna be, what paper goods they need from me, et cetera, but nowhere had she asked for a quote. So I assumed she was asking for work for free which I then replied back and told her. I actually replied back with a quote. I was like, well, if you do want this, it's X and X amount. And I kind of asked to clarify. I was like, this isn't a shoot, right? Because I don't provide work for free. And she followed up and was like, oh, yeah, we weren't expecting you to work for free. And I kind of told her, I was like, okay, well, that wasn't really like clear in your first email.
Yeah.
But I also think that I was kind of like reading into it as well. So I think just make the safe assumption to just send the quote. Just be like, thanks so much for reaching out to me. Or, you know, Aunt Sally, whoever it is, like, thanks for asking. If I create a seating chart for you, it'll be X amount, whatever. And just reply back with that instead of just kind of going along with it. Because just don't let your chain get yanked. It'll happen really easily. You gotta learn to stand up for yourself a little more.
Yeah. Okay. So following along those lines, this is kind of a side tangent, but it's only slightly. I just got an email
Okay.
on my lunch break. This is not someone I actually know, but I quoted her for some original paintings, and I said like they start at 700 each, and it was like for some city stuff. And she said, "Oh, that's a little out of our price range since there are 3 cities that we need stat base. We don't necessarily. These are the cities we need." 3 cities. Okay, we don't necessarily need the original, but I'm just trying to see if this is a possibility in our budget and our lives. And I don't know if she's like, do you think she's asking me for a discount? Like, what does that mean?
I feel like that's pretty obviously asking, like, we want to see if this is a possibility, like, as in, will you change your rates so it's reasonable for us?
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm gonna say
I
no.
don't think that warrants, like, too much of a response or explanation. Yeah, that's
No.
kinda awkward because people will phrase things in really weird
They're
ways.
always gonna have sob stories too.
Yes, I have gotten things so many times that are like sob stories from people, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't do that." And, like, I've had to tell people that over the phone before too, because they, like,
Oh
find
my
my number
gosh.
on Google and call me and are like, "I need XYZ, this and this," and I'm like, "I'm so sorry, I can't help you." And then they're always like, it's the guilt trip of, "Well, do you know anyone who can?" As in, like, I have to provide some sort of backup.
Mine are always, I get a lot of like, those prices are really steep and really out of our budget. Like, and you got an email too. Remember that? Well, I guess this was like
Oh, yeah,
about
that was
how
awkward.
your prices are like quadrupled the other people, but this is like,
Oh, the
oh,
word they used was insane
oh,
because
insane.
the mother of the bride accidentally she was the one getting the quote, and she accidentally forwarded to me what she had sent to her daughter, and basically it was like a one-liner like, "This quote is insane." And I confronted them
Oh
about
my
it,
gosh, of course you
and
did.
yeah, and reached back out and was like, "Hey, Mrs. So and so, just want to let you know, I'm not sure you were aware of this, but you did forward your response." Or maybe it was like what her daughter had written to her. Either way, I was like, "I would love to be able to touch base with you to talk about the quote and how we can bring it into a more reasonable budget for you. Because there's things you can always cut out of a package." So, this is
Yeah.
another thing for like friends and family that maybe your cousin or whoever wants a seating chart like engraved into acrylic, like yada yada, something super fancy. Well, you can always come back and say, "Hey, I can't do this for you. What about doing this, which will cost less and be more reasonable?" Like, you can do
Yes.
that not only with random strangers on the internet, but with family as well.
Mhm.
And they'll be really appreciative of it. But
Yeah, just offer up another solution that's gonna save them money, save you time, everyone's happy, like win-win. You can't go wrong with that.
win-win. Anyway, like, she did respond to me and was like, "I'm really sorry that you saw that. That's awkward, embarrassing, whatever." And then this was hilarious. She realized that she had asked me to quote them for a quantity of like 200 invitations. And that was an accident because she had been getting quotes of 100 with everyone else. And I was like, well, no wonder my quote was like insane, quote
Yeah.
unquote, compared to everything else you were getting. So we like made some changes and followed up, and I like never heard from them again. And honestly, it's not too surprising considering how like awkward of a situation that was. But yeah, those are like the types of things that Cammy and I deal with all the time. I feel like when people see
Mhm.
our stationary
Oh
quotes.
my gosh. See, I know, that's why I would feel so guilty if, like, a close friend reached out for wedding invitations. Actually, I had a close friend and she was like, "Yeah, it sounds great," and booked me. But I always get nervous. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, they're gonna think I am
Right.
ridiculous." Like, I feel so guilty, but I don't feel like that with a client that I don't know because I'm just like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
isn't that funny?
it
I
is
mean, I
so
totally
funny."
get that too, like, the squirminess in my stomach of and I think it's because it's family, like, or and friends, that they might talk to other people too. So I think you're always kind of wondering, like, what will they say when I find out that I charge $5,000 for stationery or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
know.
I
They
think
should be
'cause I
like,
think
"Dang, she's making bank over there." That's what they're gonna say, but
well, yeah, that's what they say, and they think and they assume, and they're like, "Oh, man, they're just, like, ripping people off and making money."
yeah,
I think that's what you're afraid that,
what a rip
that the
off.
assumption
Yeah.
will be, when in reality, we're paying taxes and expenses and doing all these things, and obviously don't take all that money home that we're charging them for, but, yeah, it's just, like, such a it just, like, gives me the heebie-jeebies. I'm really thankful, actually. It's been a very long time since any, like, friend or family member has asked me for a discount on
Yeah, I
anything.
do think this is something you worry about more at the beginning of your biz than now. Like, I feel like once you kind of establish yourself, like, oh, okay, she is a legit business, you're just gonna have less and less of those requests. Like, at least for
Mhm.
me, I know I do. Like, hardly any of my friends contact me to work with me. Like, when I was just doing like little one off pieces of all kinds of random stuff, which also goes into like figuring out your style, figuring out your aesthetic. And they would be like, can you make a wooden sign that says this? And I'd be like, sure. And it was just hodgepodge of everything. People were coming to me for all kinds of stuff. And that was like the basis of my work. But once I like established myself as a watercolor wedding invitation designer with a product line, it just kind of narrowed down and people were less inclined to ask me about random projects. I mean, I still get those random
Mhm.
projects, but not like it was at the beginning. And I
Yes.
don't feel pressure to say yes to them now like I did before. I felt so much more pressure to please that person, to say yes, to do the job because they thought of me. I was just like, wow, they want me to do this? They're gonna pay me money. And now I'm like, well, they're not gonna pay me enough money, so I'm not gonna do it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you do get that confidence that just comes with having more years in business, I guess. Not that
You
we're
have to
like
put
been
on your
in this
little
business for years, but
you have to put on your little, like, business, like, thinking cap. I always think of those beanies with, like, the propellers on them,
Oh,
you
yes,
know?
that's
You're
exactly
like,
what a thinking cap
put
looks
on
like.
the business beanie and remind yourself that you're a serious business person, even though that image doesn't really make me think of them being
Just put on your
serious,
beanie with propeller and remind yourself this is serious business.
oh
Exactly.
my gosh. So
But I
funny.
always think of okay, on The Incredibles, the costume designer girl, what's her name? Edna?
Edna Mode.
And she's like, "No capes." I always think of them like, "No discounts." So, like
Well, she's I that's actually hilarious that you bring that up too because, I think in Incredibles 2, she designs, all of Jack Jack's new superhero outfit for free because she's obsessed with their family, so that kinda reminds me of what you do for your, like, friends and family when you love them.
oh,
For, like,
yeah.
Pop or your mother-in-law when you, like, do baby showers or birthday invitations, things like that. I
Yeah.
felt like that was kinda how, like, her character is, because Mr. Incredible is like, "Let me pay you." See, that's the thing, he's a friend and he insists, he's like, "Come on, Edna, like, let me pay you," and she's like, "No, no, no, like, it's on me."
Yeah, and it wasn't that he asked for a discount, it's that she
Nope.
wanted to do that for him. It was her decision to give the gift because she loved and valued their friendship and their relationship, and she wanted to give that, and you can do that too. But he wasn't like, "I need a discount because I've got 3 kids, Edna, I don't know what to do. My life's falling apart, my wife's a rock star, but I'm at home with the kids," like
Think about how expensive it would be to hire Edna Mode if she existed in real life,
I
like
know. See, what an inspiration to us all, you guys. She is amazing at what she does, like, and you know what you're going to her for. She has defined her aesthetic, she has defined her offerings, like, you're not going to her for a prom dress, you're going
yeah,
for a superhero costume.
this is
This
amazing.
is amazing right now.
Oh, well, for that person who asked, we hope that this gives a little bit of insight into it, to let you know that it really is okay at the end of the day to say no and to
Yeah,
not have
just
a
just
policy in
remember,
place.
no discounts, unless you want to.
In the Edna Mode voice, exactly like Cami is doing. But to wrap up the episode, if you guys have any other questions for us, obviously this question ended up becoming an entire episode. We thought it was important enough. But if you have other questions, we do Q and Cake episodes every 5th week where we answer listeners' questions. And you can submit those at www.bizbirthdaybash.com/Q and Cake. And you can fill out that form if you want to have us answer a business question that you have.
Yep. And then, of course, leave us a rating and review on iTunes so we can get found by other creatives and look really good to the Apple people, because we all know that's what matters in life. And yeah, we can't wait to hear from you guys next week.
See you soon. Bye.
No discounts.
Hey there, fellow stationers. Are you creating custom invitations and still sending a lackluster contract that's hacked together with Google searches and generic templates? We've got you.
We've created a custom stationery contract written for stationers by stationers, and it is lawyer reviewed and approved. #LegalRockstar. The custom stationery contract covers every stationery snafu, protects you and your client's interests, and sets up an expectation of professionalism. We've combined our previous contracts, as well as years of experience, to bring you a contract that covers your booty and your biz. So become a put-together pro and breathe a sigh of relief knowing that you have a contract that is easy to understand and avoids confusing legal jargon.
During launch week, the dates of April 15th to 19th, the custom stationery contract is only $197, so you can save $30 this week only. Here's the deal, even at full price, this contract will be half of what you'd expect to pay anywhere else, and it's written by 2 gals who have seen it all.
Spoiler alert, it's us.
It's time for you to do things right. Go to bizbirthdaybash.com/contract to purchase and download your copy today.